Robert Maynard Hutchins was an American educational philosopher, dean of Yale Law School, and president and chancellor of the University of Chicago. While he was at the University of Chicago, Hutchins implemented many controversial reforms, including the elimination of varsity football. The most extensive reforms involved the undergraduate College of the University of Chicago, and Hutchins' plan for a new educational system was built on great books, Socratic dialogue, comprehensive exams, and early entrance to college. This plan was abandoned after he resigned in 1951, although an adapted version still survives at the neighboring Shimer College in Chicago. Throughout his career, Hutchins was a strong supporter of using great books as an educational foundation. True to his beliefs, Hutchins served as editor-in-chief of Great Books of the Western World and Gateway to the Great Books, as well as publishing extensively under his own name. In the University of Utopia, Hutchins claims that the object of the educational system, taken as a whole, is not to produce hands for industry or to teach the young how to make a living. It is to produce responsible citizens. In this book, Hutchins describes the perfect society, Utopia, and their educational system, whose purpose is to promote the intellectual development of the people. Hutchins also describes his dismay at the current state of education, arguing that education is becoming nothing more than a poor trade school. He argued that schools like this satisfy the community needs for workers rather than focusing on the intellectual needs of the individual. He believed that universities should teach the intellectual content related to the occupation, but that the occupation should take on the responsibility of training employees. Hutchins also warned that schools have shifted from being educational to custodial and compared them to babysitting services for adolescents. He claimed that courses like home economics and driver's education were focused on meeting a societal need rather than an educational goal. Hutchins was also not a fan of specialization. In his essay, The Idea of a College, he argued that due to specializations, students were not able to communicate with other students outside of their field because they shared no common educational experiences. In the University of Utopia, Hutchins outlines the ideal utopian education. In Utopia, the great books are used as study material and discussed by classes using the Socratic method. Hutchins, however, does not completely shun the laboratory world. He believes some things are best learned through discovery once a student has been graduated to the outside world.